Hi and welcome to the third and last part of this video series. In this part I'm going to deploy the project to a live server and I'm going to use DigitalOcean. I've already signed into my account here, but I need to click the button Create Droplet, which is a virtual private server. Here I want to select Ubuntu 20.04 and I just want the basic shared CPU. You can just select the cheapest server for now because I don't need anything more for this project. And I like to use Amsterdam because that's the closest part to Norway. And the name can just be the default name. I don't need any of these for this project, but I would suggest using monitoring so you can monitor the storage and similar. You can just create a root password like that. I want one droplet and the host name can just be interior shop, like that. Select project, enable backup, I don't want that. Okay, sorry, I forgot to add a number to the password there, like that. Okay, so now the password is correct and I can create Droplet. So now I just need to wait for this to start up. Great, so now I have a server. If I copy this and go to my domain register, and then I want my domain for this web shop to be interiorshop.codewithstein.com, and this needs to point to the IP address for the server, and then I just click plus. So now everything here should be okay. So next step now is to just go in and log into the server. So if I just open up a command line, SSH, root, and then the IP address. Yes, I want to edit, and then I can sign in with the password I just created. So now I'm connected and into my new server. The first thing I like to do here is to update the software. To do this, I say apt get update. This will update all of the sources for the packages. And when that's done, I can do the actual upgrade by saying apt get upgrade. Now this will upgrade all of the packages that I have on the server. So this sometimes takes a little bit of time, but you just need patience because you want all of the packages to be updated. Okay, now everything is updated. Next we can install some software we need here. So to do this we say apt install python 3 pip, python 3 dev, libpqdev, PostgreSQL, contrib, and Nginx. So we need a few things for Python 3 to make it possible to install packages, and then we install something we need for the database server, which is PostgreSQL, and then we install Nginx. And then I can just hit enter, and yes, I want to install this and all of the dependencies. Great, and then I also need to install Certbot and something we need for Python to use Certbot. So apt install Certbot and python 3-certbot-nginx. This is used to install the certificates we need later for SSL or HTTPS. Hit enter, and yes, I want to install all of this. So then I can go back to the to-do list and I can set up this to done. And then the next step is to set up the PostgreSQL database. To do that, I say sudo u postgres and psql. So I change the user to this. Hit enter, and you can see now I'm using Postgres user. And then I want to create the database by saying create database interior shop. Hit enter, and then I want to create the user for this. So create user interior shop user with password interior shop password. So you would probably want a password much stronger than this, but this is just for testing now. And I also need to change the role for this user, like that, alter role interior shop user. So you need to set the client encoding to UTF-8. And I also need to change the default transaction isolation to read committed. And I need to change the default time zone to UTC. This is something I need to do to configure it for Django. And then I need to set all of the privileges on this database to this user. hit enter. So now the interior shop user can do everything to this database. And then we can quit by saying \q. So now I'm back at the root as the root user. So then I can go back to the to-do list and set this to done. Next step now is to set up the users and a few other small things. So to do this, I first say sudo -h pip3 install --upgrade pip. So everything there is ready for installing packages. And sudo -h pip3 install virtual env. This is something I'm going to use to set up the virtual environments. And then I want to make or create the root folder for this project, mkdir -p /webapps/interior shop. -p is because I want to create this whole path. So if I now hit enter, we should be able to go to cd /webapps interior shop. And this will be the home folder for the user. So then I can create a group for all of the web apps if I want multiple projects on this server. Sudo group add --system web apps. And then I can create the user by saying sudo user add --system -gid, which is group ID web apps. This is the user I want to add to. I want to set the default shell to /bin bash --home, which is the home directory for this user. Web apps, /web apps /interior shop, and then the name of the user I want to create, which is interior shop. And then hit enter. So now we have a group called web apps, and inside there we have a user called interior shop. So then I can create the virtual environment, virtual env, and then interior shop env, and hit enter. So now we have an environment there. Perfect. And then we can go into it, cd interior shop env, and activate it by saying source bin activate. And now the environment is activated. Perfect. So then I can set this task to done. And before I can set this task to done, I need to install all of the packages that we have on the local server. So if I just go into it here, cd, documents, interior shop env, and then activate it, source bin activate. And to get all of the packages, I just say pip freeze. And all of these I want to install on this server. So I go here and say vi req.txt and paste it here. And then I just save and close. And to install all of these packages now, I can say pip install -r rec.txt and hit enter. So now we'll get all of these packages installed here. So now I know that the environment is similar on the live server and the local. So I can just deactivate this and close it. Then I can set this task to done. Before I continue, I just want to say thanks to my Patreons. Next step now is to get the project files. Luckily for me, I have already added them to Git. github.com/my-name. And there I have a repository called interior shop. So I can just copy this URL, go back to the server and say git clone and hit enter. So now if I go in here, cd interior shop, everything here should be okay. And then I can set this to done. Next I want to set a few environment variables, because the safest thing to store passwords is using environment variables. It's actually very easy. We just go back to the command line, and on the server here I add them. Then to create an environment variable, we just export database password equals, and then the password we created, which was interior shop password, hit enter. So now if I say print env, this database password should be available here. Perfect. And if I now run the shell by saying python manage.py shell, and then to use this variable I can say import os and os.environ and then database password. And this will now print out the environment variable. Perfect. So then I can go back to the to-do list and set this to done. Next step now is to create a settings file for production. So if I just go into this folder and create a copy of the settings file, settingsprod.py, and go into it, settingsprod.py. First I want to import OS because I need to use this for the environmental variables. And probably this is something you want to add to that file, and also these, and the password for the email. But I don't want to use too much time on that right now. But if I now scroll down to the database, I need to change the database engine. So instead of DjangoDB SQLite, we say Django.db backends.postgresql _ psychopg2. And then the name should be the name of the database, which is interior shop. And then the user should be interior shop user. Oops, this should be all capital letters, user, and then password. And here you use os.environ database password. So now it's a little bit more secure. The host can be set to localhost, and then the port can just be empty. Sorry, like that. So now everything here should be okay. Just save and quit. So then I can set this to done. Next step now is to install Gunicorn, which is the web server we're going to use. To do this, we say pip install Gunicorn and hit enter. And then I can go 2 steps up, so we are inside the environment folder root. And here I want to create a new file by saying vi bin/Gunicorn start, which is a start script for this web server. I already created this, but I want to tell you what I do. So first I say that this is a bash script, and then I add a name. This is for exporting later down here, and then I set the Django there. Oops, here is a little mistake. Interior shop. So this is the interior shop project folder, the environment, the user folder, and then web apps. This socket file will be generated automatically when we run this script. The user we want to use is the user we just created, and the group is also the group we just created. Num workers can be calculated by taking the number of CPUs you have on your server, multiply it with 2, and then add 1. This settings prod is the settings file we just created, and we want to use WSGI, which is the entry point for the web server. Timeout to 120 seconds is that it will keep trying so long before it's quitting. And down here, the scripts go into the Django directory and activate the environment. And then it exports these 2 variables, which is from up here, and says what run directory to use. If this doesn't exist, it will be created, and then it just executes this down here, which just takes all of these and execute the Gunicorn. So if we now save and quit, we can try to run this, but first we need to make it runnable by saying chmod +x bin Gunicorn start. Then we can test it by saying bin Gunicorn start. Okay, here was something wrong. No module name psychopg2. Okay, maybe I forgot to install this. Copy this. Okay, then we can try again. So pip install psychopg2-binary. So now we can try again. Just to run the Gunicorn server. And now everything started and it seems to be okay. Perfect. So I just stopped the server. Then we can set done on this Gunicorn. Next we want to install something called Supervisor. apt install Supervisor. This is something we use to run the Gunicorn script. So if the server restarts, Gunicorn will start it automatically and similar. So now it's installed, I need to create a config file for this. So we go to the folder cd etc Gunicorn, supervisor conf.d. There are no configs there yet. Okay, so to create it, I say vi interior shop.conf and paste a few lines. So I set the program name to interior shop, and then I say that I want to run this, which is the script we just created and tested. I want to use the user interior shop, and this is a log file to log to. And also a few other environments variable. So I can just close, save, and then I want to activate this by saying supervisor ctl read. Okay, say that the path doesn't exist, so I need to create this folder, mkdir, like that, and then I can touch supervisor.log. And before I test this again, I can also go back to this folder, and then I can change all of this to be belonging to the interior shop user, because now you can see that root is owning all of this, and that's not correct. To fix this, we say chown-r interior shop :web apps dot. So now, if I check this again, you will see that interior shop is owning all of this. Perfect. And then I can run the supervisor command again, reread. It is available. Perfect. And if I say update, it's added to the process group. And if I now say status, it says starting. Hopefully it should be running very soon. Okay, now it's running. Perfect. So then we can go back to the to-do list. I set this to done. All of these small scripts I have used here, I will add them to the Git, so I can just copy the config files and similar. So then I can install Nginx, which is another web server we are going to use. apt install Nginx. I will tell you a little bit about the flow in a few seconds. So now we have created the Nginx config. I go into it and create a config file for interior shop. Sites available. Then vi interior shop.conf. I've already created this, but I'm going to tell you all of it now. So first we create an upstream app server. This points to the Gunicorn socket file that is created automatically when the Gunicorn start script is running. And first we listen to port 80, which is normal HTTP. The domain name is interiorshop.codewithstein.com, and if you are using HTTP, we always want to return or redirect the user to HTTPS. And then we create a new server block where we listen to 443, which is SSL or HTTPS. And we set the same name, interiorshop.codewithstein. And then we set the default access log and the default error log folder or file. And then we'll link to the SSL certificates we're going to create very soon, and also a few other things that you need to have in case you use SSL. And all of the static files, if the files start with /static, will go in here, and if it's begin with /media, it will take files from this folder. But if it's not a file, it will go in here and use a proxy to point to this app server we created at the top, which is the Gunicorn server. So when a user goes to browser and go to my website, it will first go to this Nginx server. If it is a static or media file, it will use Nginx because Nginx is the best for hosting media files. Gunicorn is the best for hosting Django projects. Therefore, when this is a Django request, it will just forward everything to the Gunicorn server. So now I can save and close. And then I can go into OneUp and sites enabled. And then we can enable this site by saying ln-s, which is a symbolic link, / sites available interior shop dot. So now it's here. And if I now restart Nginx by saying service Nginx restart, okay, there is an error. Can copy this. Okay, it's just saying that it can't find the certificate, but that's because we haven't created it yet. So if I just go out of here, I can go back here and set this to done. And then the last step is to install SSL. And we have installed Certbot already. And then to get a certificate, we can say Certbot -d for domain, interior shop.codewithstein.com and hit enter. Okay, I haven't installed something, but I can still do this and say cert only, like that. So certbot, cert only -d, and then this. And I can spin up a temporary web server to get this. So hit enter, my email codewithstein@gmail.com. And I agree to the terms. Yes. So now it's checking that this actually points to my server. Sometimes that can take a little while because DNS over the world sometimes takes up to 24 hours to change, but everything here seems to be okay. Perfect. And you can see here it's created this file. So if I now try to restart Nginx, it says no error. So now it's hopefully working. So if I go to the browser now, I can go to interior shop.codewithstein.com. Okay, I go to 502 gateway, so there is an error someplace. If I go to cd, web apps, interior shop, and logs, you can see if there are any errors in this file. Tail supervisor, it failed to start. Okay. Everything there seems to be okay. I know one thing I have forgotten to do, and that is if I go into interior shop, I need to update the database. Python manage.py migrate. So now we have all the tables in the database. I don't know if this was the problem, but we can try to restart everything. Supervisor ctl restart interior shop. Then we say status just to see if it's okay. It's starting. Okay, now it's running. We can try again. Still a bad gateway. So tail logs Nginx error. Let's see if here's anything. So it seems that this doesn't work. Okay, there seems to be a problem with this environmental variable. Key error from none. Okay, so now there seems to be a problem with the environmental variable. So I don't know what it is, and I don't need to spend so much time on it right now. But if I go back here now, refresh, everything seems to be okay. But I need to add this to the list of allowed hosts. So if I now edit the vi interior shop settings prod.py, and at the top here is a list of allowed hosts to use this website. So I need to paste this there. Then I restart this again. Started, refresh, programming error, Okay, so now I refreshed and the home page is working. The problem was that inside vi manage.py, this was pointing to the old settings file. So when I just change this to settings prod and then run the python manage migrate again, then I restarted the CTL. No, I restarted interior shop and then refreshed, and now everything is working. So if I now say python manage.py create super user admin at interior and then a password, and then I can go in to the login and say everything here. Perfect. So now if I can create a category, bed, save, refresh, you will now see that I have this up here. Perfect. And then if I try to log out, refresh, I can become a vendor. Code with Stein. And yes, everything is working. Perfect. And that was it for this series. I hope the last part wasn't too confusing. If you have any questions about this, feel free to leave a comment below and I'll answer as soon as I can. See you in the next video.